Hey, what's up everybody? It's Ryan Quintal and welcome to another Vector TutsPlus video tutorial. Today we're going to be creating a retro seal in Adobe Illustrator. So let's open up Illustrator and get started. In Adobe Illustrator, let's start with a new document. This is fine to measure in pixels or inches, whatever you like. In fact, we'll just do a letter size here. And we'll go in a landscape mode, and we want to name this something, recognizable. Retro seal is fine. Now, it's pretty easy. First, we're going to start off by grabbing our shape tool and grabbing the ellipse tool to make a circle. Start in the center of your canvas anywhere and hold down Option and Shift, and you can click and drag out and make a circle. Pretty basic. Now, using Command C, then Command F, you can make a second circle, and holding Option and Shift, click and drag that down a little bit until you have some good space. Now do a Command C and a Command F again, and the same thing, and this time we're going to give it a little bit less space. So now we have three circles inside of each other, sort of a big ring, a skinny ring, and then the full circle itself. Next, we're going to draw a rectangle right through this. So grab our shapes over here and let's choose the rectangle tool. And this you don't want to make too high or too skinny. So you want to go over the entire circle. And you can pretty much guesstimate the height. It looks like 1.44 is what I have here, and that's fine. Once you have all these shapes created in your canvas, you're just going to want to select them all. So click and drag over Command A, and then horizontally and vertically align them to the center of your canvas. Next, we're going to make something that, since this is a power plant, we'll do little lightning bolts or something to that effect. So grab our pen tool, and let's draw out little lightning bolts. So first we'll do a big one, and we want to make this roughly in here, so we'll start there. And we'll click on, and again, this is a pretty, all visual type of move. Come back to here, there again, and finally there. So we'll come up to here, and you can see I'm doing this all by eye, but you're welcome to, go for the exact lines. I have smart guides on. That's really helping me, aiding me in being able to create these lines in a pretty straight way. Just go ahead and hit Shift to keep it straight. Come back out here again. And then we'll close that off. And now I'll use the direct select arrow to sort of, bring in my points and make sure that this is a, in the same vein, the same angle as this side over here. Now it looks a little bit deeper on this side, so I'm going to take these lines and draw them out a bit. And that's fine. We're not actually even going to see this midsection. Grab its path. Yeah, that's a little bit better. It's starting to look a little bit like the Gatorade symbol, but we're not going to worry about it. Just horizontally and vertically align it. And in fact, you can select your rectangle and do a Command Shift right bracket to put it on top of that. Next, we're going to typeset a small established date. So grab your text tool, and I've chosen a font called Bistro Script just because I really like the way it looks. It's a script font. I'm going to do an EST period, and then how about 1932? Size it up a little bit, and our established 1932 looks pretty good. We're going to go ahead and go to Object, Transform, and we're going to shear it just a little bit. So turn on Preview and turn our shear angle. Maybe just 10 is fine. Now with that askew a bit, we're going to right click and create outlines. Once that's outlines, you want to go ahead and bring it into your circle and rotate it a little bit, and also size it down. That's a bit too big. And we're going to go ahead and make a little lightning bolt underneath the date. So grab our pen tool again, and this one's going to be pretty easy. We're just going to start here, 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 and then here. And then we're going to make that an outline. Once you have that made, let's grab the width tool here from our tools palette and grab this bottom point. Let's zoom in so you can get a better look at this. So it's just a straight line, and with our width tool, we'll grab this bottom point and click and drag, and you can see that'll make that larger. And then this point right above it, click and drag that until we pull that down to the end as well. And that makes us a pretty nice looking little lightning bolt, which once it's made, go ahead and go to Object and expand its appearance. That turns it into solid shapes. And then the Pathfinder palette over here I have, you can click Unite, and that makes it all one solid object. So again, you want to keep these all pretty solid. Now we can take our lightning bolt, and we can swap that. We'll make that a solid color as well. Our outer two circles, we will hold down Shift, select them both, right click, and we're going to make those a compound path, therefore cutting out this middle. And then you can see when we swap that around to a solid color what that does. Now we're going to typeset the company name right inside this rectangle. So grab your text tool and start typing. You can put on all caps and type out Power Plant, or any sort of company name you can think of. I'm just using sort of a generic one here. I'm going to scale that up a bit. And you can see a script font isn't quite going to cut it here, especially in all caps. So I'm going to choose something with some serifs. It's a bit taller as opposed to wide. In fact, it's Rockwell condensed. So we'll select Rockwell, and then here's condensed. Yeah, that's pretty good. We'll go for bold, and we'll size it up a bit. We'll even tighten in the kerning. So in your character palette, bring the kerning, or this little AV where it shows that in, together. We're going to highlight our P's individually and go ahead and kern those even a little bit closer to everything else, just so we have a nice sort of uniform look. Power Plant, I like it. See, it's going to drive me crazy. I got to do the O too now. Alright, that's good for now. So Power Plant is all set. For now, take the stroke off the rectangle that's behind your text. Over here in the color palette, we'll just turn off that stroke. Power Plant will stay the same. Now it's time to make this flat logo a little bit more dynamic. Select that white rectangle and the text, and we're going to go to Effect, 3D, and Rotate. You can leave all these settings default. I have -18, 26, and 8 for the X, Y, and Z axis apparently, but the position is called off axis front if you choose that. Hit OK, and you can see that gives us a little bit of a cooler angle and, a little bit more motion to the whole logo. Likewise, we're going to select this outer circle and go to Effect, Distort and Transform, and do a zigzag on it. We'll turn on a preview so you can see what that looks like. And we're going to make the size much smaller. So I'm just going to go ahead and come in here. Instead of 0 inches, let's do something like 10, and we'll type in PX. That'll convert to inches for us. That's a bit much, so let's do 2 PX. And that's a little bit better. And our ridges per segment will go from 4, and we'll go to, say, 20. So now that we have everything in place, it's time to give this a little bit of color, a little bit of personality. Let's start with the outer ring. Since it's a power plant, you want to think a little energy, a little electricity. Let's go for something in the yellow spectrum, and I'm just manually choosing this color. I want to start with maybe something that's a little on the gold side of things. That's pretty good. Now we're also going to give the lightning bolt that exact same gold. And I grabbed that from the color guide. If you don't have your color guide shown, I'm using that for this project, and you'll see why very shortly. Go to Window, and you can see color guide is about halfway down the list. It's also apparently Shift F3 if you have that available. the established in 1932 and the word power plant, I'm going to go ahead and give that a darker purple color. And then the inside circle, we're going to give that sort of an off yellow, maybe even beige, and turn off that black stroke. You can see I'm having a hard time seeing that lightning bolt, so I'll go for something even less suggestive. Now it's suggesting a blue in that area, so let's try one of these pale. That's pretty good. So we have our yellow and purple power plant logo. Now we're going to select all of this and do a Command G. So you can see we've grouped it together, and the reason we did that is because we need to make this a step further in the aged and give it a little bit more personality from where it is. Now that we've added color to our logo here, we're going to do a couple things. We're going to make a duplicate of this layer so we don't lose our original work. And save if you haven't already. In fact, I'll do that now. And just hide layer 1, lock it down so you don't do anything to it. Now our next layer, we're going to copy this with Command C, and we're going to do a Command F to paste it. Now this new pasted logo that you can't see because it's sitting immediately on top, you see like that, we're going to do a couple things too. We're going to go to Object, Expand Appearance, and we're going to do that a couple times, expand again, so we capture the text and everything there. Once that's expanded, we're going to go over to our Pathfinder and use the divide command, which is at the bottom left, and use our magic wand to select this white that we've created and cut out of all of our back, and just hit delete. So now we actually have this shape as is, but we're going to do one additional thing, which is in the Pathfinder, select Unite, and make it one solid object. In fact, let's color it something totally different from the logo so we know what's going on. I'm going to zoom out for a second because I'm about to bring in something pretty cool. Head over to PSDTuts.com and grab this awesome for free high-resolution texture pack that's a sort of a grunge texture pack, because we're going to use this one right here on the top left to create our sort of aged effect. So I'm going to go back in Illustrator, and you can see when I open my Finder that I've already downloaded it. Here it is. I'm just going to select it and drag it right in. Once you drag that in, go ahead and position it somewhere around the top left of the shape you just made and hit Command left bracket to send it behind. Now this green shape we're actually going to turn all the way white, so you can select white in your color, and then hold down Shift and select your texture underneath. And then in the transparency menu, use your little drop down here and say Make Opacity Mask. And you can see that makes sort of a black outline of this. But we're going to do one more thing where we're going to take that transparency and set it to screen mode. And you can see the pretty cool little distressed effect that we just made. Now let's hit Command, Option, and 2. And that'll loosen up or make our bottom layer selectable. Select everything, Command A, then Command G to group it. Now this is all together, and you can see the transparency again reads normal because it's a group, so now we have another method to select this transparency. We're going to go ahead and grab the rectangle tool now to finish this up and just give it a little bit of a background. For this background, let's, I don't know, do something that's a little fun. Why don't we do a, we'll do a little bit of a off-white here, something like that. And we'll drag that into the gradient palette. And we'll take one of its dark ones over here and drag that into the gradient palette and just sort of pull off our black and white. We'll make it a radial gradient. We'll zoom out with our gradient tool. We're going to pull it out to be pretty big. Something like that. And maybe we'll even come in and adjust the sliders so we've got a little bit of just a vignette effect happening. Then we select our logo, and in transparency we're going to put it in multiply mode. Now let's just sort of center this and hit tab, zoom in a little bit so we can take a look at this thing up close. There it is. And there you have it. It's a power plant. It's a retro vector seal logo in Adobe Illustrator. And make sure to check back at vectortuts.com for all the latest Adobe Illustrator and vector tutorials. I'm Ryan Quintal from quinteldesigns.com. Have a great day and keep designing.